So I'm probably gonna get blasted for this, but in my opinion, Help Wanted 2 is just okay. It's not terrible and it's not amazing, it's just fine. It's fine. And I think part of the reason I feel this way is because 50% of it feels like those restaurant games you play to pass the time. Only it happens to have FNAF slapped over it. Don't get me wrong, there are some really great moments in Help Wanted 2, but did we really need a Whack-A-Mole ripoff and 5 levels of Fizzy Faz? And did we really need 5 levels of Fazer Blast? It's such a shame because I really wanted to like this game. In the beginning, I was really enjoying it, but as you continue playing, you realize it's not the same. I mean, honestly, it feels like Mario Party where it's a bunch of random minigames that are themed around the franchise. I mean, there is just so much filler that it takes away from the fun and scare experience that the first game did so well. And I think there's no better way to show you that than to take you through my experience of the game and what I found worked and didn't work. So with that said, let's take off the mask and see the true colors of Help Wanted 2.
Yes! Hell yeah! Hey, come on, baby! Come on! Yes! Come on! Ah! Yes! Yes!
Now, when starting this game, you're taken to a lobby just like the first. But in my opinion, it's a whole lot better. There's more details, moving around doesn't feel clunky, and it just looks so refined compared to its predecessor. But the main focus is the display tablet in front of you, which has 6 folders, with that being the backstage, food prep, Fazcade, ticket booth, sister location, and staff only. Now, we'll be going in order in which I played these levels to give you a better understanding of my experience, because I've realized depending on the order you play these levels, you could have a whole different experience since there is a lot of repetition. With that said, the first folder we'll be taking a look at is the backstage, starting with arts and crafts. And I gotta say, it's a really fun level. Basically, you're tasked to complete a color by number, make a paper character, then make another one and paint it. While doing this, you'll have to use the gun to shoot the panels in order to get the resources you need, but you have to be quick since you're timed. And whatever you do, do not hit the panels with the light bulbs, or you'll get a very lovely conversation with Moon. Now of course, since I'm an artist, I completed this with flying colors, and I never once died, and I definitely knew what I was doing the whole time. Brush down here, no? What do you want me to do?
My instructions were very clear.
I wasn't listening!
I can't.
I wasn't fucking listening. Wait, what? Oh. I don't know what you want me to do! It won't work! Okay, maybe I wasn't listening, but I had my reasons. Oh, this is sick!
What art supplies do you need for
Fucking...
craft shells? Yes, of course.
Anyways, I really like this level. It's such a fun and creative idea, and utilizes the VR controls well. I think my only gripe with this level is I never really understood how the timer worked. It's very confusing because there'll be moments when it sounds like your time's up, but the game keeps going like nothing happened. So I'm not really sure how that works, and I ended up just ignoring it altogether. And I think that definitely hindered the scare factor because I didn't have much to worry about. But maybe I'm just dumb and it's right in front of me. If so, please let me know. But moving on, the next level I played was Salon Staff Makeover. And overall, it's pretty simple. I mean, it's in the name. You give the staff bots a nice makeover, replicating the makeup and accessories that are on screen. And I just gotta say, whoever the makeup director is for Fazbear Entertainment needs to be fired. Because, I mean, look at this atrocity. Like, what is this supposed to be? It doesn't even match. And either way, if you fail too many times or just happen to take way too long, you'll get a nice jump scare from the staff bots. I don't really have much to say, the staff bots never really terrified me, and this is when I started questioning the levels in this game. It just felt really out of place for a FNAF game. Sure, it's FNAF themed, but the overall gameplay just isn't scary. The difference with this and arts and crafts is that you really feel like you're being timed and pressured to go as fast as possible to either make the paper character or paint the drawing. Whereas Salon Staff Makeover, you don't get that sense of pressure from being timed. You have more than enough time to finish each bot. This wouldn't be so bad if the gameplay was scary and the staff bots were actually threatening, but that's simply not the case. Instead, it ends up feeling like a minigame that happens to be FNAF themed. Now, Glam Makeover does a better job at making this minigame scary. The gameplay is very similar, but this time you have to keep eye contact with Roxy while you're putting everything on, because as we all know, Roxy is a self-centered asshole. I mean, seriously, I thought she was bad in Security Breach, but this takes it to a whole other level. She is so full of herself, it's actually funny. The fuck are you wanting? Oh, I got in the wrong place. Okay, that's... God damn. Fuck, I'm quitting, fuck you.
I changed my mind.
I almost feel bad for the staff that had to deal with her, but her pressuring you to stare at her and seeing the amount of time you have left to complete does bring up the tension. It's not a lot, but enough to make this level fun and stressful. I think one thing that would make this level even better is to actually have less time, because when I finish a round, I still had a decent amount of time left, which deflates the tension after you realize you don't have to rush. After I finished Glam Makeover, I decided to go to the Fazcade and play Bonkabon. And all I can say is that this level really feels like a minigame. It's a whack-a-mole, but FNAF themed. I really don't have much to say about it, it's not scary, and isn't really that much fun. The controls are nice and feel smooth, but it's just not something you're wanting from a FNAF game. There's nothing scary about it, it's just okay. This is when I started feeling a little concerned. I was hoping there wouldn't be that many levels like this, and maybe it's just a handful of levels. But was I wrong. After playing Bonkabon, I played DJ Music Time Beginner. Basically, you're given a picture by Music Man. What you must do is replicate the picture exactly before time runs out. Overall, the gameplay is pretty forgiving and you have more than enough time to figure it out. I don't really enjoy this one too much, but I will say the music was insanely catchy and I may or may not have been dancing it out with him. I also really liked how Steelwool made Music Man. It's hard to show it on a flat screen, but in VR, he is one massive animatronic. Watching him come out and getting closer, towering over you with this creepy grin, it's all really well done. He's literally the size of my house. And I think this is the best experience I've had with Music Man. It's just a shame they didn't do something actually scary with him. After playing this level, my feelings for the game were shifting, and I started feeling slightly disappointed. I was going into Help Wanted 2 expecting more of what the first game had. In the first game, you had VR versions of the older FNAF games, but believe it or not, that wasn't my favorite part. What I really loved was the other modes. I loved the parts and service, the vent repair, night terrors, and the dark rooms. Part of the reason I loved them so much is because it gave us something new and creative that fit well with the VR controls. And most importantly, it felt like a FNAF game. They didn't feel like mini-games, there were levels that had FNAF gameplay refined into VR. But in Help Wanted 2, it's clear Steelwool went in a different direction. But I'll get more into this later. Continuing on, after playing DJ Music Time, I decided to go into Sister Location to see what it has to offer. And this brings us to Ballora Gallery. This level is very similar to Sister Location when you must make it past Ballora to get to the exit. But this time, you really feel like you're in a huge dark factory crawling on the floor, trying to make your way past Ballora. Not gonna lie, I was shitting bricks the first time I played. It's terrifying seeing Ballora and her long ass legs making her way closer and closer to you, just barely passing you unnoticed. It's so intense it makes you want to hold your breath. But this was quickly ruined thanks to the unclear rules within this level. When you get halfway to the exit, you'll eventually run into the Minorinas that will make sounds and come near you, attracting Ballora to you. But even if you throw them away, Ballora will still come after you. And since you have to be quiet, there's not much you can do. And good luck trying to avoid the Minorinas because they seem to just teleport in front of you. This caused me so many game overs that what should have been 5 minutes turned into 40 because I couldn't understand how to deal with the Minorinas. This turned the level into an absolute chore because it's really only scary the first or third time you play. This level made me so frustrated, but somehow the FNAF gods were on my side, and I managed to get by and exit the room. Fuck! Finally! Finally! Yes! Let's go! God, that took way too long. But I didn't feel accomplished at all, because I felt like I just got lucky. I was just happy to finally get through it so I can move on to the next level. Ballora Gallery is by far the worst level just because of the unclear rules within it. If any of you know how you're supposed to play this level, I'm all ears because I could not for the life of me figure it out. I feel like it would be really nice to have some form of sound indicator so you as the player know how loud you are and how quiet you have to be. But let's just move on, I'm getting PTSD just talking about it. The next level I played was the Breaker Room. And you know what? As simple as it is, it's very effective. Again, a lot like the gameplay from Sister Location, you must keep Funtime Freddy on stage using Bonbon's voice. But the catch is, you have to pull down levers to fill up all the meter gauges. It's really fun, and it gets intense at the end because you are forced to pull down more than one lever at a time, forcing you to drop the megaphone. It leaves you vulnerable to Funtime Freddy, and is the scariest part of the level because you're taking a risk. I also really love how homemade the device is. It's literally a handheld tape player crudely taped onto the megaphone. It's really good to know that Fazbear Entertainment really cares about their employees. Let's just hope they get paid above minimum wage. After playing this level, I played The Office Private Room. Now, this level felt a lot like your normal FNAF gameplay. In this level, you must protect yourself from Ennard until 6 AM. You have the doors on both sides and a vent door in front of you. You also have the usual cams to see where Ennard is. While doing this, you must save as much power as possible, otherwise you'll die from Ennard. Like I said, very familiar to your usual FNAF gameplay. I don't have much to say, it's pretty fun, and I love the walking animation for Ennard. It's truly creepy seeing him walk closer and closer to you. Overall, a pretty good level. After playing this level, I decided to go to staff only and play Cold Storage. In this level, you have to get rid of the ice on Freddy and repair him without overheating him. It's pretty fun, and it's a lot like the parts and service in the first game. Overall, it's really nice, but it just didn't feel as scary, and I think that's due to the fact that I never felt uncertain of what I was doing, like I felt in Parts and Service. And it's probably because of Glamrock Freddy's design, which as we know it, isn't scary in the slightest, especially with his dad-like charm and dialogue praising us on our good work. It would have been so much more terrifying if it was Glamrock Chica, or maybe Sun and Moon, but that never happens. Overall, this level could have been better, but it's okay. The next level I played, First Aid Piggy Patch, felt the same. It was just okay. Basically, you're getting trained how to deal with injuries that customers could have at the Pizzaplex. And there's no better way than to get your hands dirty and learn your mistakes on poor Helpy. I mean seriously, this guy has been through the ringer. I mean, he comes in with injuries caused by getting trampled by fans, parental neglect, which I mean honestly same, and a ball pit accident.
Oh, shit!
And as much as I want to say I didn't enjoy terrorizing Helpy, I was having a blast. But I digress. In this level, you have to fix Helpy's injuries, which can range from broken limbs, deep scratches, cuts, and many more. But the catch is, if he screams, you must give him some nice happy gas to stop him from screaming. Because if you don't, well, the animatronics will come from the vents and jump scare you. Same thing will happen if an ad on the TV comes on. If you don't turn the TV off in time, they will jump scare you. It's a pretty funny experience, but when it comes to being scary, it really lacks in that department. There's no tension other than having butterfingers with the damn mask. Like, I swear, I was struggling to put the mask on Helpy, and I don't know why. But other than that, there's no timer, so it's pretty chill. I mean, besides the questionable torture inflicted upon Helpy, but I'm sure he's fine with it. I gave him candy. After I finished this level, I played the next one, which was First Aid Lefty. And you want to know what was different about this level? You might think there'd be an added challenge, or maybe you'd be timed. But no, nothing. And I mean nothing has changed besides the animatronic, which is now Lefty. But other than that, the animatronics act the same and the gameplay is exactly the same. This puzzled me because it's filler. Nothing new is being added by this level, so why have it at all? And unfortunately, this isn't the only level that feels like this, but we'll get to that soon. After playing what felt like the same level, I played Fizzy Faz Night 1. And basically, you mash the combinations on the screen, putting the materials in the cup in the same order. While doing this, you have to make sure the bots aren't getting overworked. It feels a lot like a restaurant game with you matching the orders for what looks like drinks. But oh my lord is it boring. You just sit there filling cups over and over again, and very rarely look at the bots. It's just so uninspired, and again doesn't really feel like a FNAF game. If you took the FNAF elements out of this, it wouldn't affect the experience at all. It honestly feels like a level from that job simulator game. It just isn't scary. I mean, unless working at a dead-end office job is terrifying, which I mean, you got me there. But overall, it's just not a good level. Fizzy Faz Night 2 wasn't much different. You just have the ability to press the emergency shutdown if a rogue bot tries to attack you. After this level, it was really hitting me that I'm not going to get the experience I was hoping for from this game. And the crazy part is, I didn't even know that I'd have to do this 3 more times. After the disappointment that was Fizzy Faz, I decided to check out the ticket booth and play the carousel level. And this level actually brought something fresh to the table. You're supposed to fix the carousel by replacing the broken fuses and switches. Then repair the circuit board by welding the correct wires together, and while you're doing all this, you have to use the flashlight and point it at Moon to keep him at a safe distance. It's a pretty fun and engaging level, but I do wish there was more layers to it. It's a bit simple, but it's enough for how short it is. I really like the design of the carousel itself. It has a very eerie aura around it and definitely fits the FNAF feel. Overall, it's a pretty good level that felt creative. The next level I played after the carousel was Foxy's Log Ride, and again, I was disappointed with the lack of FNAF gameplay around it. It's just another minigame that has nothing to do with FNAF and the story. It's just your usual dark ride that you'd find at Disneyland that again is just themed around FNAF. It wasn't scary, and for me personally, wasn't very fun. I remember as I was playing this thinking to myself why Steel Wool went in this direction. I know they've been actively lowering their scare factor for younger audiences, which is totally fine, but some of these levels, like Foxy's Log Ride, have literally no concept of horror in them. It just feels out of place. And it didn't get any better when I decided to play L-Chips and Food Prep. In L-Chips, it's another level around making food for customers. Again, nothing about it was scary. Sure, there was some pressure from the amount of time you had to make some of the orders, but that alone doesn't make it scary. The only thing that's scary is how realistic it portrays working at a fast food place. This is yet another level that could honestly be any other game. It could be another level from Job Simulator. Don't get me wrong, it's a good level subjectively, the controls are smooth, everything looks really nice and thought out, but what does this have to do with FNAF? And yet again, I felt the same way when I played Pizza Pizza Pizza. Although I'll admit Steel Wool did something a little bit more on par with FNAF by having Chica watching you waiting for the food, and even having her jump scare you if you don't complete the order right, but it still feels like another level around making food for customers. And it didn't help that I was absolutely struggling with making the pizzeritos. I don't understand this one. Go! Get in the thing! God, I hate this. Just... what am I not understanding here? I don't get it.
2,000 years later.
I don't know what you want me to do. Oh, now it works. I don't know what magical motion you have to pull off to make them, but everything I did would just not work at all. You know, maybe it's a good thing I don't work around fast food. Anyways, after playing this level, I went back to the Fazcade and played Bonnie Bowl. And this to me was as low as it gets for this game. And no, it's not because I suck at it.
Nice throw!
Well, maybe a little bit. It's because this level feels so unfinished and rushed. In this level, you're, well, bowling, and during certain rounds of the game, you'll have obstacles getting in the way. While doing this, you have to keep an eye out for Moon. And if you see Moon, you have to use a flashlight to make him go away. All this sounds really nice on paper, but Moon only appears in one place, and at most will only appear twice through the whole level. And the obstacles, they may as well be non-existent because it's super easy. When I first played this, after each round I would check behind me and all possible areas that Moon could come from, thinking he would pop up from anywhere. Because, you know, that would be the best way to make the level more intense and scary. But nope, it's just one spot in the ceiling that you can easily see at all times. There's no risk, nothing at stake, meaning this level is unable to bring tension or make a player feel scared. I really don't know why they kept this level in, it's very forgettable. It would have been cool if maybe we got to see Bonnie in it somehow, just to add something, but it's just an overall bad level. After playing Bonnie Bowl, I played Fazer Blast. In this level, you get a Fazer Blaster and shoot at targets to get a high score. Yet again, it's another minigame that doesn't add much and feels out of place for a FNAF game. I do like the feel and the look of it, but the gameplay just isn't creative and doesn't add anything to the overall game. And Fazer Blaster 2 isn't different either, just more of it. The only thing I gained from these two levels is realizing my lack of ability to throw. After finishing both of Fazer Blast levels, I played DJ Music Time Advanced. This level is played the same as the first, but this time you have to use the flash on your camera to keep the mini Music Men away. Again, I love the design of the Music Man animatronic, but the gameplay is just okay. Even with the mini Music Men, they're just way too easy of a threat to take care of. Now, after this level, I had nothing else to do, but there were these locked and glitched folders left, so I knew there was something more to the game. I did some looking and used my fast key to open a storage closet in the lobby, and lo and behold, the last Princess game was in it along with one of those devices Mixes used in the Ruin DLC. It took me some time, but I managed to figure out that you can deactivate the device. And this is when probably the best part of the game starts. But before we get into that, if you're enjoying the video and want to be part of this community, subscribe and hit the bell icon. Or if you're wanting to support the channel, which would mean the world to me, check out my Patreon. By joining, you get tons of nice perks like being first to watch my videos and tons of behind the scenes, as well as full access to my music and many more. So if you're feeling extra devilish today, go check it out. With that said, let's get right back into the video. After turning off the device, I realized I had a mask on. Instantly, I knew all the things I had been seeing in the levels and the lobby isn't really what I've been truly looking at. I went to the lobby and took the mask off, and my reality of the game quite literally changed. Okay, I'm just gonna take it off. Bruh. Oh my god. Oh, that's so creepy, because I've been in here for quite a while, and to like just think that this is what this is what it actually looks like. It's all been an illusion, thanks to this mask right here. That's crazy. No more bright colors and no more warm feelings. It's the same feeling you get when you walk into the same place you've known for so long, but now it's abandoned and forgotten. It was truly an eerie experience, and this moment was easily the best part of the game. When I went into the terminal, I realized the glitch folders weren't glitched anymore, and were now freely accessible to play. This is when I felt a glimpse of hope. Maybe the levels from here on out will kick it up a notch and maybe be more terrifying. And the very first level I played was Roxy Repair. It's very similar to Glam Makeover, but this time Roxy looks like she got ran over. I mean, it's gonna take more than a makeover to fix that. But overall, everything feels a lot darker, and I got a pretty good shock when I first started this level. Seeing her in such horrible order so up close would make anyone jump. The only difference with this level compared to Glam Makeover is that she'll have these episodes of existential crisis, and the only way to calm her down is to play recordings of her own voice telling her how beautiful she is. It's honestly really sad, and she doesn't come off as a narcissist. Instead, it feels like she's trying to be herself again after a horrible accident, always being reminded of that day when she looks at herself. It's honestly heartbreaking, and you feel for her. I also like that this level is harder with Roxy wanting more of your attention and having less time. Overall, I really like this level, and I think enough changed to make it worthwhile. The next level I played was Arts and Crafts Lofts, and again, it feels like a scarier version of the previous level. But this time, while you're making your crafts, you have to use the flashlight to keep Moon away, and you have to make sure to keep the flashlight charged while you do so. The gameplay is actually pretty difficult because you have to use the flashlight to see where you're shooting, so it's extremely hard to keep the flashlight charged at all times because you're constantly using it. And of course, the conversation with Sun before he goes into Moon was a nice touch. As I've said in Ruin, I love the dynamic of Sun and Moon. It's such an interesting character and is the most creative in my opinion. So overall, I really like this level. After making my beautiful masterpiece in Arts and Crafts, I decided to go to Food Prep and play Fazbear Theater. And again, I have to say, it just isn't the most suitable gameplay for a FNAF game. In the same way, the food isn't suitable for customers. I mean, if you look at the pretzels, it looks like a whole new species is growing on the damn thing. But I digress. I will say this is probably the best food-based level in the game. While you're making orders for Chica, you have to keep the endos away by using the flash on the camera. And it can get pretty stressful because they only move when you don't look at them, making it very hard to look around and make the orders. It's a balance you have to make with the endos and making the food. It made the gameplay intense at times, so that's why I say this is probably the best level around food. It feels the closest to a FNAF game. The next level I played after this was Over and Staff Only and First Aid Scrap Baby. Again, very similar to the other previous levels. The only real difference is the animatronics can come from the front curtains, and now it's Scrap Baby after you. Other than that, it's super similar. I think we could have done without this level since it doesn't add anything new to the table. And I have to say, it was the same for the Breaker Room Hard Reset. It's exactly the same as the previous, besides not hearing him talk and it just being darker in the room. Oh yeah, and this time Funtime Freddy appears with no clothing, aka Yendo, so that's always cool. Other than that, it's very similar, and again, this level wasn't really adding anything new to the table. And unfortunately, it didn't get any better from here. Because this is when I started playing the rest of the Fizzy Faz levels and realized just how many there were. When I realized there was yet another Fizzy Faz level, I was just shocked at this point. I will say at least now Chica is involved in this level, but you deal with her the same way by using the emergency shutdown. Also, if the resources overflow, you have to flush it all out, which can royally screw you over. Also, now we have salt. Oh boy, we got salt this time. That's what's different this time. Oh my god. What a revolutionary change. I know, right? Such a huge game changer. It's really just more resource management, but the overall gameplay is still the same. After Night 3, I played Fizzy Faz Night 4, and you want to know what was different? You want to know how they changed it up? Well, nothing changed. No, seriously, nothing was different about this level. It was just a lot longer. Like, way too long. And Fizzy Faz Night 5 is no different besides the bots constantly looking creepy. But this night was the bane of my existence. You have no idea how long it took me to complete this level. It was by far the longest level and the hardest. It was so boring and monotonous, I have no idea what Steelwell was thinking of having 5 games of Fizzy Faz. It was such a huge waste, and I'm 100% sure it was used as filler. No other reason why there's so much goddamn Fizzy Faz. I don't even want to say Fizzy Faz again. If you enjoyed it, good for you, but man, for me it was absolute hell. But moving on, after playing all the Fizzy Faz levels, I played Bonkabon Bonus Round, and I was yet again disappointed. The difference between this one and the previous is it's darker, and you have a very simple wire puzzle in the 4th round. And there are eyes. Yes, eyes. Nothing happens if you hit them, they're just distractions, and it only happens in 1 round. Again, no reason to have this level if you aren't going to add anything that actually switches up the gameplay. And the same goes for DJ Music Time Pro. No difference in gameplay, it's the same as Advanced, just more rounds. I do, however, love how creepy Music Man looks. Such a horrible yet beautiful sight to behold. But other than that, it's no different. Now I will say the next level I played, Endo Warehouse, was actually something different. In this level, you're teaching an endoskeleton how to behave by matching the behavior cards. This level plays like your normal memory card game, and I gotta say, I realized just how bad my memory is. It's a pretty fun level, you have to memorize the cards and match them while also using the flash on your camera to keep the endos away. It's very stressful, especially if you're someone like me that has the memory of a goldfish and can barely remember the instructions as is. Overall, a pretty decent level. After realizing just how bad my memory is, I went and played Fazer Blast FNAF 1. It was pretty interesting since it's themed around FNAF 1, but it's not scary, just a cool game within a game kind of thing. And that goes for Fazer Blast FNAF 2, where it's themed around, you guessed it, FNAF 2. It's creative and cool, but just isn't what I'd call super fun or scary. And the last level is only unlocked until you shoot the rockets in the first 2 levels, and survive through FNAF 2. By doing this, you get Fazer Blast FNAF 3. This one is actually interesting. The game area is all burnt and run down. It's just you and Springtrap, using all the weapons at your disposal to take him down. It's pretty fun, and I really enjoy the use of the flashlight as well. I just wish more levels went in this direction and did more with it. But the main problem, as you can tell, is there's just way too many Fazer Blast levels. But continuing on, I went to the ticket booth and played Cinder Carousel. It's the same as the previous, just darker. Moon moves a little bit more, but other than that, it's very similar. And I don't think this level was needed, and again, just doesn't add anything new to switch it up. After playing Cinder Carousel, I went to Sister Location to finish the last 4 levels. Office Puppet Master is very similar to Office Private Room. The main difference is you have to watch Ballora and keep the Minorinas off the buttons. Also, if you see one of the Minorinas on the cams or Bidybab, give them a nice shock so they don't drain your power. Sometimes Bidybab will come through the vents as well. I enjoyed this level quite a bit, a lot of it was different and made it feel fresh again, and I enjoyed throwing the Minorinas more than I'd like to admit.
Alright, she's gone. Hey, what do you think you're doing?
Overall, a very good level. Same goes for Office Funtime Gang. This level was very memorable. This time you have to watch out for Funtime Foxy, Chica, and Bonbon. You also have Chica's Cupcake, and by putting him on either side of the door, Chica will go on that side of the building. And I'm pretty sure Cupcake felt pretty used, as he'd keep giving me these looks.
Hey, don't look at me like that. Don't look at me like that. Okay? Side eye. Funny.
Anyways, Bonbon will occasionally appear from the vents and the door entrances. And Foxy. Oh boy, Foxy makes this level 10 times scarier. If you see that he's left the stage, you best be ready.
I hate you. You're scary.
Jesse! Jesse!
See, that's why Funtime Foxy is terrifying.
When I first played this level, you aren't told that you can actually see Foxy running through the hallway, so I just assumed when I saw that he's gone, I just have to wait and listen and act as fast as possible. The most scariest shit I've experienced in Help Wanted 2. Definitely my favorite level in the whole game because of Foxy alone. After this level, you have Office Job Interview, and this time you have 3 rounds, or games I should say, that you play with Circus Baby. First you play Flashlight Tag with the plush babies, then you play Red Light Green Light with 3 of them. Then the last game is Hide and Seek, where you spot and shock the plush babies you find on the cams. After this, you get a lovely welcome from Circus Baby, and she even gives you ice cream. This level was interesting. It's kind of forgettable and not the scariest thing in the world, but it was different and was engaging enough in my opinion. And that was the last level in Help Wanted 2. I mean, there is a secret ending if you collect all 6 dolls from certain levels, but I'll leave that for you to figure out. I will say the ending was pretty cool and unique and a nice fourth wall break, but as you can see, a lot of these levels in Help Wanted 2 really fall flat and just feel like there could have been more. There's a lot of repetition that makes me think Stillwell put in some of these levels just to add filler. And a lot of the levels just have nothing to do with what you'd expect from a FNAF experience. It's weird because in the first game, you had some really fun and creative modes to play that were genuinely terrifying. I loved the vent repair levels specifically because of that, and to see Help Wanted 2 veer so hard off course is really disappointing. I understand that on the Steam page it does talk about these minigames, but I thought Stillwell would have found a way to make them scary through the gameplay, but that's just not the case. If you were hoping Help Wanted 2 was going to be similar to the first game, don't get it unless it's on sale. But if you like the idea of FNAF-themed minigames in VR, I highly suggest it because that's like 50% of this game. All the levels look good, they feel smooth, and the amount of interaction in these levels are perfect for a VR title. I'm just disappointed in the direction this game went. But I have a feeling I'm in the minority seeing that this game is rated so highly by a lot of fans, and every video I come across on YouTube seems to be praising this game for what it's done. But for me, it's just not FNAF. With that said, if you enjoyed this video and want more funny moments, check out my Patreon. I have a full-length video dedicated to my reactions of the game. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on future videos like this one. With that said, see you next time.